Well, I'll start with Donald Hammond coming in to convert that 2-point conversion. Was that something that was in the game plan all week?
It was not just during the week, but it's something that Coach Miller did a heck of a job of putting together, and we repped it, really worked it throughout August.
And you had told us last week that all three would play, so kudos to you for being man of your word. Do you think that giving Donald Hammond a little bit there, do you think that maybe you would see his role potentially expanding as we progress through the season?
Possibly. I do want to clarify, I don't know if I can say for sure that all three will play in every single game. I think over the course of the season, most certainly, those three are going to contribute, and they're going to help us, as we move forward. And I think that's one of the things when you play and you play some games, and now you realize how important practice is. You just got to keep pushing the bounds and extending, and we got to make improvement as a team.
When you look at this Nevada defense, that front for them does a great job of getting penetration immediately. I believe they lead the Mountain West in tackles for loss. What do you guys need to do to kind of keep them out of Isaiah or Aaron's face on Saturday?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the things you look at, how well they play behind the line of scrimmage, how frequently they are behind the line of scrimmage, either beating a block or scheme-wise, some of the things they're doing, especially beating blocks up front. And, really, and you look at for us too, I always kind of thought what you do is you got to eliminate the things that really, really sting you. Some of the things that sting you most certainly are fumbles, sacks, interceptions, to a degree, incompletions. You're going to have few. Those are going to happen. You look at some of those things that are real factors in the way you play, and when you limit those, then you got a better chance to win. And certainly, we're playing an opponent this week that makes it even more difficult to limit those. But that's why you work, and fundamentally why you have to develop, and that's why we practice. On Mondays. That's why we go hard at it on Tuesdays, and that's why we have pads on when we go to Wednesdays also.
And defensively, you guys are going up against another offense that has explosive plays. Maybe they don't go quite with the pace that Utah State does, but they certainly are able to get those 25, 30 yards at a clip. How do you combat that?
Yeah, they do. They're pretty good about lining up and going right away also. And, we've seen that. And that's something that I think we're going to see more. You're going to see it throughout the season. That's not, just one game or two games where that's been the case. And incredible production from their offense. And, the other part is you look at just how dynamic the punt returner is too. So we got a lot of things that require our focus and our preparation just because we are playing a very, very explosive and talented football team.
Coach, when you do go up against an offense that likes to go quick, likes to get a lot of snaps, do you find last week you guys had a lot of snaps also. Do you find that you try to keep pace, or do you kind of go your own strategy, try to slow it down when you're out on the field on offense? What's the approach there generally?
I think a couple of things. I think defensively you got to be really good on first down because you look at when are the most frequent times that a quick play occurs. It's when you make 5 yards or 7 yards on first down. Second 9, second or 10, all of a sudden that there's a little bit of the brakes that go on. And then on third down, being really, really effective on third down because, those areas defensively where it's the case, and then offensively, being able to convert third downs. I think that's, a huge part of the way we operate. And when you do convert third downs, you extend drives, you get deeper into drives, and it has also the benefit of, now it makes it a little bit harder for an opponent to score when their offense is not on the field.
And with the passing defense, a couple of weeks in a row now, quarterbacks have put up some pretty big numbers. Is there anything thinking to rearrange the alignment a little bit, maybe crowd receivers a little bit at the line, or adopt a different approach?
Guess what? We're going to see another highly, highly big-time throwing team this week too. And I think you do have to mix up with your approach. We're always looking to, to alter. I don't think you can play the only one coverage. The simpleton aspect of it won't work defensively, not over the long haul. I think especially when you play against teams that are quite proficient at throwing the football.
Is that a couple years ago? It seemed like that was kind of a transition you guys made, going from giving some cushion to crowding, and it worked for a while. Is that
Against
I guess? Well, it was 2013. I think that was kind of the philosophy: was keep everything in front of you. Then Steve Russ came in, and seemed like
what
that was
did we
kind
do
of a
last
shift.
year?
Last year, I believe you were gave some cushion, didn't you?
I think it kind of ends up being a little bit. You look back and say what happened, and something a little different. We've always tried to mix coverages. I think you got to be able to do it, and you got to mix zone with man. You got to mix the rolled corner with times where a corner's able to play with vision to break on a ball, and you got to be, more importantly, just technique-wise and fundamentally, you got to be really, really good. And and the other part, the kind of communication that has to occur on the back end. And if I know I have somebody inside of me, then I can play on your outside shoulder when I got help to the inside. If I know somebody's going to help behind me, then now I can roll up and be extremely aggressive and be a force player even against the run. And that's where a corner and a safety have to be on the same page.
And if you had to prioritize, do you still feel stopping the run has to be where defenses start?
Well, in this day and age, you got to be able to do both. I mean, I do. I don't think in this, I think defensively to say you're only going to do one but not the other. I think probably when you go into a given week, if an opponent, if opponent has an excellent back, you better make sure that part of it where it's not 8 yards every single, or a bunch of snaps that are 7-8 yard gains when you handle the ball. I think you got to be good at both.
And do you think Ronald Cleveland you'll find a way to get him the ball a little bit more? I mean, is he a guy you would like to see a little more involved?
Perhaps. And there are different ways. I mean, certainly, we had a kickoff return the other night. Maybe would have had a chance to get a little more out of that kickoff return. And, but out in the perimeter, sometimes plays that are outside, out by the numbers and whatnot. And, there have been moments where you've seen, some acceleration or making a catch, a fairly challenging catch, and he's been able to do that.
And did he line up as a tailback at one point, like in an eye?
Yes, sir.
Is that something you might explore a little bit more with him?
Perhaps. I don't know if that'll happen often, but some, at times, and that did happen the other night.
Would there be a reason he couldn't run, as an as a tailback for you?
Well, I think fundamentally, there's some things that those guys do that do require require a good number of repetitions. If you're going to run some downhill zone, I think that takes a good bit of repetition. Just to be able to see the proper cut and how to run behind your pads. I think might depend a little bit on the kind of play that there is.
Okay. And now that you've had a chance to kind of digest Cade Remsburg's performance, what did you think he brought at that spot?
Well, we're going to, like I said a little bit earlier, just across the board, just making progress. If it comes for a ball carrier, being really sound on any kind of basic exchange, just fundamentally, we got to do that. He does have good quickness and just continue to develop. A lot of it is pad level and the way that you run and being able to do that. When you block, being really, really good with your pads and just helping a guy continue to grow to be a complete football player.
And when he came in, he's another coach's son, and most coaches like to coach those guys. I mean, did you see that from him when he came in, that he was very coachable and had some of those fundamentals?
They're unbelievable family, and very, very coachable. I think the biggest thing you see when a guy's coachable, I'll tell you quite frankly, it's the anonym of arrogant. I mean, it is. If you're arrogant, you're probably not real coachable. If you got a big old ego, then you probably really aren't interested in continue to grow and develop and improve. Great humility. When you have that and a real solid work ethic, then you have a chance to progress.
And was his dad the head coach, or was he a...
He was a coach. He's done a ton at that school. I mean, they've been very, very involved in the community.
And any update on Matt Felici?
Not right now.
Who would you still go with the same alignment? The same backup if he were not able to go?
Yeah, he hit a solid field goal the other night. Jake did. And on the other one, just the execution part of it. There's got to be a little more elevation when the ball's kicked, and we got to make sure there's some precision things that have to occur. Just detail-wise, make sure where a ball's spotted, it's spotted in the proper place too.